Today on Inspirational Journeys, I have with me Karl Beckstrand, who writes not only for adults but children. He writes children's books as well. And we're going to delve into all that. But first, welcome to the show, Karl.
Thanks, Ann. I'm glad to be here.
So now, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. I grew up in San Jose, California, and I lived abroad. I lived in South America for a couple of years in Chile. I got my undergraduate degree in journalism and then a master's degree in international relations, and started writing in college when I should have been doing homework. I would get ambushed by story ideas and I'd have to scribble them down so they would let me get back to my studies.
Oh wow, that sounds interesting. So what inspired you to become a writer?
Yeah, I didn't like to read or write as a kid, and it may have been that I was mostly exposed to boring textbooks, but when I was 8 years old, I got the measles, and my grandmother gave me a chapter book called Bicycles North by Rita Ritchie. And that's where I found that books could be fun and transport you to other places. But I didn't plan on being a writer until these stories actually started to ambush me, and they just wouldn't leave me alone.
I understand that. Characters start talking to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you, like I said, you do children's books and adult fiction and nonfiction. So, um, okay, I'm gonna ask you again, which is easier, the adult books or
Okay.
the children's books?
Yeah, they're each their own animal. Obviously, children's books are shorter, so you can get the initial story written more quickly, but then for those you have to get them illustrated and the page design and layout. So it's about even. I've published more children's books because I can write them more quickly, but the process for publishing is lengthy for either children's or adult books.
Right. Do you for what age group do you write when you write your children's books?
So they're mostly picture books. So I have wordless picture books for the very young toddler, and then I have just simple text books. I have bilingual Spanish-English books with pronunciation guide. And I have career books for kids a little bit older. I have short stories for middle grade.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I have a Western novel for young adult and adult, and I have a relationship self-help book called Abundant Paths.
and you said you were working on more children's books?
Yes, I have a couple more in the pipeline and some short stories, and then an adult workbook.
Oh, nice. So one question, and I looked on your Podmatch profile and I saw this one question. So in your experience, what's the difference between traditional publishing and self-publishing? I know traditional you have to submit and you have to wait, but what were the big differences between the two that you found?
So yeah, I worked with a couple of publishers early on before starting my own publishing company, and I just found that when you work with a publisher, profit margins are thin in publishing no matter what. And so by adding that extra middleman, you're losing money. And then the publisher may want to change your content and they control the marketing or the lack thereof. So I just found it was better to control the money and the content and the marketing myself.
Ah, and did you work with a team like an editor, formatter, cover designer?
Yes, I always hire a professional editor for any of my books. But fortunately, I am a designer myself, so I'm able to illustrate and lay out a lot of my books. I haven't illustrated all of the picture books. I often will hire a professional illustrator because they work more quickly than I do.
Oh wow. And
Yeah.
that could be expensive too. So when you said you opened up your own publishing company, do you just publish your books or do you work with other authors? How does that work?
Yes, I distribute a couple other authors, but I am not open to manuscript submissions because I have so many of my own that I may never get to because there's just folders full of files of story ideas that I have that I will never get to. But I am open to, seeing artist portfolios because I'm always looking for a good artist.
Oh, okay. That's
Mhm.
cool. So are there any tips and advice that you want people to walk away with from the interview today?
Oh, sure. If you want to write, um, you you have to discipline your schedule. Even if you have a full-time day job, get yourself in your chair writing every day at the same time, even if it's just for 10 minutes. And you'll find over several days that you'll be getting your books written if you do that every day consistently.
Oh, nice. So, in closing, where can
Yeah.
people find you online?
So you can just Google Karl Beckstrand with a K, Karl Beckstrand. I'm on Amazon, Walmart, and my website is kidsworldbooks.com.
Oh, okay. And I've got all your social media links too, so all of those will be put in the show notes. So we
Great.
challenge you. So anything else you'd like to add before we close?
Well, on the marketing side, which is the real work of publishing, I would tell people to, if you've got a good book, if you've had it professionally edited, keep marketing it as if it were brand new. My bestseller has been a book that I wrote 20 years ago, and I still market it like it's a new book, and it still sells.
Nice. Okay. So we challenge you today to go out there and read to get inspired, write something inspiring, and share your creation with the world. For when you've touched one life, you've touched thousands. Thanks for joining us on Inspirational Journeys, in spite of any technical difficulties we may have had at the start. And remember, folks, your story matters. Thanks for joining us, and I will see you next time. Take care. Okay. No. No, 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 no.